Hello and welcome to Wednesday Live with Evie number 18. Today's topic is networking productively. And for those of you who might not know me, my name is Evie Burke and I work with entrepreneurs and I help them take productivity to a new level. So a couple of things before we get started as people kind of find their way here. If you haven't already gotten your freebie of how to choose priorities when everything is important, head over to oneinsightcloser.com and grab that. And that, if you're not familiar with it, is just a really great way to look at everything that is on your mind that you want to get done this week, or just everything that's on your mind in general. And it gives you a really great format for how to get all of that stuff out of your mind and get it down on paper, and then how to prioritize it. And my friend Missy, when she did this, when she downloaded it and she started working with it, Missy said that it was like hitting the reset button on her business. So head over there and grab that. I know you will find it useful. And then the other thing I want to invite you to is my private Facebook page, Productivity for Women Entrepreneurs. And that is a great place to be if you are a woman and you want a little bit of support around your productivity or your business. And we have a couple of topics that we touch on every week. One of those is, what is your top priority for this week? And I ask that every Monday, and people answer it. And sometimes I hear from people who are in the group where even if they're not answering it, because they saw that question pop up, it starts them thinking about it, and they end up getting more things done just because they were thinking about, okay, what's the actual thing I really need to get done this week? So let's get into today's topic, and that is productivity, networking productively. And for those of you who don't know, that was networking was actually one of the focuses of my business a couple of years ago. So the idea came up because I've been talking with people over the last couple of weeks, and networking has been a topic that's been brought up. You know, whether it's how to get more out of networking or how to communicate to others how to network maybe a little more effectively. So we're going to dive into that, and I would love to know what your questions around networking, any tips or tricks that you have to share, and any questions you have. So feel free to write those in the comments, and I will see those as they pop up. And if I don't answer your question immediately, it doesn't mean I didn't see it. I just might want to finish the thought that I'm on before I go on and answer your question or read your comment out. So, and if you see me look down, I just have some notes, and that's what I'm looking down at to make sure that I'm hitting the bullet points that I want to hit. So let's get started. One of the things to think about, really the first thing to think about is, where is a good place for you to network? And it can be really frustrating. So the thing that's going to help you the most here is being super clear on who your ideal client is. When you know who your ideal client is, then you can start thinking about, where do they hang out? And this is where everyone is your ideal client absolutely does not serve you. So I pick on Mary Kay ladies a lot just because in the past this is where I've seen it show up, is, the Mary Kay consultant who says, anyone with skin is my ideal client. Well, that's great, but now where do you network? And even aside from that, when you are networking, how do people know who to refer to you? So if you can really get really specific about who your ideal client is, and it's not women, just all women or all men or everyone, but you can be very specific. Like mine is women entrepreneurs. Generally, they're people who work from home or work for themselves, because I know that I can pick networking events where I know they'll be, or I can go to a networking event and identify pretty quickly, is this a good place for me? Is this where my ideal clients are hanging out? So know who your ideal clients are so that you can know where you want to find them. That will help dictate that. And another thing to think about is know who your referral partners are. Who are the best people to refer you out? And if you're not sure who those are, think about the services that your ideal client uses before they're ready to come to you, or the people that they're using right after they're ready to come to you, or they're working with you. So this again, it requires you being super clear about who your ideal client is, and also knowing where they are in their journey of working with you. You know, what are the services, what are the products that they're buying before they're ready to buy your service or product? What are the services or the products that they're buying right after they're finished or through that portion of their life or their business where they'd be purchasing your services? Those are your great referral partners, because the people that are naturally right before you, or those products or services, they can refer people to you, you know, once they said, okay, they've reached this milestone and now they're ready for you. And you, as you run across people who aren't quite ready for you, you can refer them to these other people. And then the same goes for the products and services that somebody might use after they use your products and services. So they, you know, as they come across people who aren't quite ready for their products and services, they can refer them to you. And as you reach somebody who's, you know, graduating from your services, you can refer them out to these other people. So sometimes it makes sense to network where your referral partners are rather than where your ideal clients are. So one of my former clients, she was a financial advisor who worked with women in transition, and specifically she worked with women who were generally just coming out of divorce. And she, you know, there's not a lot of places that just congregate recently divorced women, and any of the support groups or anything like that that were around, it wasn't really appropriate for her to attend because she had been divorced for so many years that it wasn't appropriate really for her to be there unless, you know, she was speaking or coming in as an expert, right? However, well, and the other part of that is, you know, divorced women are everywhere, right? So you could say, oh, well, she can network everywhere because people who are divorced are everywhere, which is absolutely true. However, no one stands up and says, I just got divorced last month, you know, or I'm going through a divorce. Those aren't things that when you're networking that you're sharing, you know, in front of everybody, so that, you know, this one person who is looking for divorced women can find them, right? So instead, it made more sense for her to look at who were her referral partners, who were the people that they were going to be in contact with, you know, the divorce lawyers, the realtors, because a lot of times, you know, maybe there's a house for sale, you know, those type of people where they're going to be seeing them, and then they could potentially refer her out as they need, you know, financial advice, or to figure out, how do I manage my finances now that I'm no longer married? So for her, it made more sense to network for her referral partners. So when you're looking for places to network, look for where your ideal clients are hanging out, and where are your best referral partners hanging out. And that's the place those are the places you're going to want to focus on. The other thing to think about is your business location dependent? So if you have a business that serves a particular area, then you're going to want to focus your networking events, your networking time at the places where those people are going to congregate. So if you have a business that generally services people in downtown Chicago, but you know this really great group that's out in the western suburbs, yeah, maybe stop by one time just to check it out, but it's probably not going to be worth your time or your effort to travel out to the western suburbs, you know, once a month to make those connections, right? Because your business is primarily focused, you know, in Chicago. And while you might get a referral here and there from the western suburbs, your time is going to be better spent networking downtown Chicago. So think of that for whatever your business is. If it's a specific, if it's location dependent, make sure that you're networking in that location. Supporting other people is nice, but if it's a place where there is only so much room for other people, maybe leave that seat open for somebody who is local to that area. I hope that made sense. I know what I think I said, so I hope that came across the way that I wanted it to. Let's see, what is the other thing? Oh, evaluating business success. So if you're at a networking event and you've been going for a while, every once in a while take a step back, and I don't mean like take a step back from networking, but just look at, review, have you gotten business from this networking event? Is this a place where you want to spend your time? If you have gotten business and it's more than the amount that it costs you to go to the event, and for that I'm talking about yearly costs. So if it's a group that you pay a membership to, did you make that membership back? If it's a group that you just pay to attend on a monthly or whenever you go basis, have you made that money back? Have you made your travel costs back? Look at that. Is it paying for your time to be there, both monetarily and like literally? If you were working with a client during that time, are you making that amount back by investing your time with this networking group? Are you finding clients there? Are you finding customers there? The other thing is, if the answer is yes, obviously it's a good place for you to be. If the answer is no, there's a couple of things to think about. One is it a place where your ideal clients are? And if not, you might want to move on. And the other thing is, just because the answer is no, you might want to look at how you're networking there. Are you making the most of your time? Are you connecting with the people there? Or are you just showing up and expecting clients and customers to flow to you? Because a lot of times you actually have to do some work and get to know people and connect with people before you're going to see results from your networking. People need to get to know you. So if you're showing up every month but you're not taking the initiative to get to know people, if you're not connecting with people, then maybe it's not that the group isn't the right group for you. Maybe you're not making the most of your time within the group. Just a minute, I'm taking water. Mary says, you do have to give a group some time for them to get to know you. Absolutely. So I'm not saying, evaluate after 3 months, but maybe after you've been going for 6 months to a year, start looking at how is the group paying off. Or even after 3 months, look at how are you connecting outside of the group with the people in the group. So this brings me to the next topic, actually, which is one-on-ones. So here I'm going to share a story of early networking Evie and the dangers of terminology. So when I started my business, one-on-ones were what you did with people who were interested in working with you. Is you would have a one-on-one with them and you would get a feel for where they were in their business and if they were a good fit for your business. And they were evaluating whether they wanted to work with you. However, I started going to a networking event where they were talking about having one-on-ones with people, and I inserted my definition of what a one-on-one was. So when somebody approached me and said, hey, I'd like to have a one-on-one with you, I was like, great. Here's my, intake form for you to fill out, so I can get a feel for what you're looking for. And they kind of looked at me funny and were like, oh, okay. And the conversation that we had was super awkward because my definition of what a one-on-one was not the definition of what a one-on-one was for that networking group. So pay attention to intent. Pay attention to not only the words that somebody are saying, but what are they actually looking for? So I learned, after that when you were having a one-on-one with somebody in that group, that it actually meant you were getting to know them and you were finding out about them and their business, but they weren't selling to you and you weren't selling to them. You were getting to know them as a person and something about their business. So from there, I want to share just a little bit about, how to have a successful one-on-one. And you don't have to go and have a bunch of questions prepared. It generally helps to have an intention going in if you can know a couple of questions that you might want to ask to kind of get the conversation started and know how much time you have to be there. So I know one group I belong to is quite infamous for being a very friendly group, very social, and sometimes having those one-on-one conversations goes 2 or 3 hours long, which is great. However, sometimes people are really busy and they don't have that time. So be very clear about how much time you have and how much time you're willing to spend there. And if necessary, share that going in and saying, I really want to get to know you. However, I do have to leave at this time. I know there was one woman I networked with from another group, and she had an hour because she had a day job, and so we were meeting at her lunch break, and she had an hour. So we got lunch, we sat down, she started a timer, and it was a half hour. And so she was asking me questions and learning about me, and anytime I tried to ask her a question about herself, she said, nope, this is my time to learn about you. This is your time to talk. When the timer goes off, then we'll switch. But, I have an hour, so this is the format. And that, it actually worked out really, really great because I knew that I had an hour to share with her, answer any questions she had about me. She did get to know a lot about me personally and my business in that half hour because she was very directed. And then in the second half hour, I got to have that experience with her, and it was very direct but still very friendly. Like, we still had a really great time. So, Mary has a good suggestion here too. And she says during her planning for next week time, she sends notes to everyone she has appointments with, not only to confirm the appointment, but to confirm the intention. Is it a one-on-one to get to know each other? Oops. Trying to read the rest of it. Is it so that I can explore using their services? Is it for them to explore my services? Hey, that's Mary. That's a great idea. So how do you confirm that, Mary? Is this you asking a question, or is this you saying this is what I understand the one-on-one is for? I would love to know that. So, but that's a very good point about, making sure that you're confirming with people and that you know what the point of the conversation is. She says, okay, so it depends on what you understand from the request. So it sounds like you might be asking, can you let me know what you're looking to accomplish during this time? Or you might be saying, hey, I understand we're going to have a one-on-one and get to know your business, get to know each other's businesses, and get to know each other. Cool. I am looking. So Mary says, just to be sure why I'm walking into a room. I don't want to go in expecting that they're exploring my services when they're really wanting me to tell me about their services. Oh, okay. So you don't want to go in expecting that they're looking to hear about what your services are, but really they're looking to tell you about their services. All right. It also makes it clear that it's not about me buying their product line. Yes. So that brings me to the next thing I actually wanted to talk about here, which is if you're having a one-on-one in the definition of just getting to know somebody else, which I find is actually the more common definition for a one-on-one, not the one that I had. That's actually a less common definition from what I understand now, from what I experienced too. When you're having a one-on-one with someone, when you're getting to know someone, this isn't a time to sell them your services or share with them why they should be, all of the reasons why they should be taking your supplements or buying your products or using your services. This is a time to actually just get to know each other. And yes, you're going to share, these are my services and this is what I do and this is what my ideal client is, but it's not a time to say, are you signing up? What can I mark you down for? What are you interested in? It's not the time for that. It's just a time to get to know the other person. Now, I will share that a lot of times what can be super helpful, because you do want to know if this is somebody who might be a good fit for your services, is if you can have a couple of questions where you get to know them, and you get to find out kind of where they are in relationship to using your services, but it's not something that is overt. And it's coming from a place of being genuinely curious, and not from a place of, I wonder if I can sell them my product. Okay? And there's a difference there, because anytime you're walking in with the I want to sell them, can I sell them, how do I sell them type of energy, people pick it up, and it's a big deterrent, and that's when people just cannot hardly wait to get out of there. Instead, you want to find out where they are. So for me, it might be asking a question like, tell me where you are in your business, tell me, what one of your goals is for this year, something like that, where it's very conversational. It's not confrontational, it's just conversational, and they can take the answer anywhere they want to with that. This is an exercise that I used to do when I was presenting on the topic of networking, where I would ask people to come up with, maybe 3 questions that they could ask that would let them know kind of where somebody was with their business or whatever it was, to see if maybe it was a good fit for what they did. And it's not that now you're saying, hey, now you should buy my services, but it's just to find out where they are. And there was one particular person in the room as I was listening to people share what their questions were with their partners. And there was one woman who sold supplements. And her non-intrusive question was, tell me about the vitamins you take in the morning. That's not really a conversational question. That's a type of question that does kind of seem to come out of the blue. Maybe a better question might be, tell me about your hobbies. What do you enjoy doing on your off time? What are some of your favorite foods? Because those, even the foods one, might depend on the nature of the conversation. But asking about hobbies, asking about, things like that, those can give you an idea about whether they're a very active person or whether they're not an active person. If they say, oh, I would really like to get out and walk more, or I'd really like to get into running, then you have a conversation that you can have around that. But if they are talking about something completely different, then maybe that's not a good potential client for you. So just having those questions that gives you a little insight to the person, that doesn't set off alarm bells in their head that are like, oh, this person's trying to sell me something. You want to be genuinely interested. There was something else that I was thinking I was going to share that, the one thing that's not on my notes that totally should be, that goes right along with knowing who your ideal client is have a succinct elevator pitch, because generally at a networking event you're going to be given some time to stand up and introduce yourself, or you're going to be chatting with other people and you're going to want to introduce yourself. So you want that short, 15-second, this is what I do introduction. And a tip here is, if you are a coach, don't say you're a coach. If you sell Melaleuca, don't say I sell Melaleuca. And it's not about hiding what you do. It's about recognizing that people have baggage sometimes with certain words. So if I walk in and say, oh, I'm a business coach, somebody goes, okay, well, I'm not interested in a coach, or, I've had this experience with a coach and blah, blah, I'm not interested in what you're saying. Where if I come in and I say, I work with entrepreneurs and I help them take productivity to a new level, then they're going, oh, well, now maybe that's something I'm interested in. Or if they're not interested in productivity at all, then, they're not interested, and that's fine too. But it gives them the opportunity to hear what I do or hear what you do without any baggage, so to speak. So maybe instead of somebody saying I'm a massage therapist, saying I help people relax and take stress out of their lives, or however it is that they want to approach that. Just because again, it lets somebody hear who you are and what you do without any of the baggage that they are already adding onto it from any experiences that they have. So also with elevator pitches, go for clarity over cute. Cute can be fun, but if I don't know what you're doing, it's not helpful. And if you're throwing a bunch of buzzwords at me, that's great, but I don't know what that means. So if you tell me that you help, I'm trying to think of one that has a few good buzzwords in there. I should have thought of a couple of these before I started. Now all the buzzwords, because I heard someone introduce themselves the other day where it was like a string of buzzwords, and I was like, I have no idea what you do. Like, I know what all those words mean. I don't know what they mean when they're strung together like that. I don't get it. So make sure that when you're introducing yourself that you haven't just strung a bunch of cool sounding buzzwords together, because no one's going to understand what you're talking about. So if you talk about, I'm not going to come up with an idea, because part of me feels like I'm going to accidentally repeat somebody's tagline, and let's not do that. So just be clear about what you do and go for clarity over cute or buzzwords. So just a quick review, and I'm not sure I'm going to remember everything, but we talked about knowing where to network and how important it is to know who you're networking with. Oh yeah, Mary says, or if a web person says they help you with your SEO, people might not know what SEO means, or they might not know why search engine optimization is important, right? So yeah, so being very clear about what it is you do without buzzwords. We need a buzzwords in the English dictionary. I bet some of them actually are, since the dictionary gets added so quickly, but we need, what was it? I was reading something somewhere where somebody was sharing she was or still is a copywriter. And she was doing sales pages for somebody, and then she decided to go through and pull out all of the cliche stuff and all of the buzzwords. And when she pulled those out, she had less than half of the sales page left, because so much of it was buzzwords and cliche things that maybe didn't need to be there. And she realized how much she was relying on those things and maybe it wasn't helping her. So also when I say buzzwords, I do mean things like SEO, but I also mean like overused words. So words like, I'm trying to remember like one of them I was seeing all over the place. I can't think of any of the words right now. But the integrity, sometimes that one's starting to be overused a little bit. Follow your heart. So things that can be interpreted a lot of ways, where you have a particular definition for it that not everybody else might have, or words that are kind of overused right now, or very trendy words. You know, those might not be things that you want to include in your elevator pitch because they might mean different things to different people, or might not be clear what they mean or how you want them to be interpreted. So again, going over quickly here what we covered. Know where to network, so know where your ideal clients are, know where your referral partners are. You know, once or twice a year, evaluate the places that you're networking. You know, are they working for you? Are they not? And if they're not working for you, what are some of the reasons why they're not working for you? One-on-ones, you know, how to have a good one-on-one. Get to know the person that you're talking to. Ask them about their family. Ask them about their kids. Ask them where they grew up. You know, those are fun questions. You get to learn a lot about somebody. Also ask them about their business and who their ideal client is and who a good connection for them is. And I'm realizing I didn't ask those questions to the person I was talking to earlier today, but we did have a great one-on-one and I learned a lot from her. But, you know, ask who the good referrals are. And know your elevator pitch. Know how you want to introduce yourself. If you don't have one, there's a number of coaches around that can help you with those. If you have the book, Book Yourself Solid by Michael Port, he has a really great formula in there for 3 ways to put your elevator speech together. And the 3 ways aren't like 3 different ways to put them together, but there's like the 15-second one, there's like the conversational one, and then there's like 3 different lengths. So you can use them in different settings. So if you're having a conversation with someone, a way to use them, a way to introduce yourself there. You know, it's just a really great way he does that. Oh yeah, and Mary says tell them who your good referrals are. Don't just ask what they need, let them know what you need, right? Because, sometimes people forget to do that. And it's not that they're not interested, it's just that sometimes they forget. So yeah, share with them who good referrals for you are. And when you're networking, you know, have a couple ideas about questions to ask. And this is both for networking and for the one-on-ones to, you know, have a couple of questions where you can learn more about them personally. The last tip that wasn't in there is know how you network. So if you know that a meet and greet where everybody's just kind of milling about is going to make you want to go and hide in the bathroom, maybe don't do that one every month. Maybe only do that, you know, once or twice a year. You know, if you like the ones instead where you're at tables with people and you get to know, you know, more intimately the people directly around you, find those events and network there. So know the best way for you to network and search for those events and find those. So we are over a half hour now, so I'm going to stop talking and say, you know, if you have any questions about networking, if you have any tips you want to share those below. If you're not already a member of Productivity for Women Entrepreneurs, head on over there and ask to join. I would love to have you there. And if I don't know you, I will send you a private message just to get a feel for who you are, and to prevent spammers from being added to the group. So we've had really great luck with that so far, with just being a really nice group to connect with and not having any spammers in there. So if I'm not personal friends with you, if I haven't met you before, just be on a lookout for that private message, or be proactive and request to join and reach out to me. I'd be really impressed by that, actually. So until next week, much love. Bye.